there, I'll make it. Anywhere, it's up to you, New York, New York.
Good morning. How we doing, everyone? It's the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I am your host, Richie, riding solo in the sauna. It is so damn hot in Florida right now, ladies and gents. I wanted to do this show last night with my man, Mike Zappy, but he was celebrating his wife's birthday, so it's all good. I am here, and I was hoping I'd be talking about the Aaron Judge historic home run that led them to a huge series victory. However, I'm going to be talking about Little League defense, two coaches on the Yankee staff getting tossed, and just a whole lot of frustration north of the border as the Toronto Blue Jays defeated the New York Yankees 8-4 last night. Thank you, baby. This coffee's terrific. Yeah, definitely need that fuel. Um, yeah, Aaron Judge was able to tie the game at 4 with opposite field shot that was challenged by Toronto, but ultimately was ruled a Yankee home run. But unfortunately, the Yankees gave it right back. And Aaron Boone was actually tossed, as was pitching coach Matt Blake, when Anthony Volpe was called out on what, in my opinion, was a very poor strike three call as it was high in the zone. You know, I'm not into blaming umpires because when you make the amount of mistakes that the New York Yankees made yesterday, you just can't beat the good teams. And the Toronto Blue Jays are possibly the best team in the American League right now. They play a very aggressive brand of baseball. And they've just got a really good nucleus that is getting it done right now. I think Michael Kay said it best last night when he said, "You're just waiting for that big moment from when the Yankees are going to put it into overdrive and turn things around, similar to last year." I think last year, when they lost the series in Tampa and then had to go immediately to Baltimore, that was when the Yankee season turned around and when they ultimately went on a run and won the American League. But we've seen moments where people feel like, okay, it's coming. I don't know if it was the Trent Grisham home run. You're like, okay, it's time. Coming back from a no-hitter going into the eighth not too long ago against Brian Wu and the Seattle Mariners. Just 2 nights ago when Ben Rice hit the go-ahead home run in the top of the ninth, and then Devin Williams cuts through the toughest part of the Blue Jays order. But it's been a lot of inconsistency, and it keeps coming down to the defense. Anthony Volpe just makes too many mistakes. You know, Ben Rice, who plays first and could play catcher, he's not Paul Goldschmidt with the glove. He gives max effort, but sometimes he's just not going to make the same plays that a Goldschmidt or even before him and Anthony Rizzo would make with the glove. Jason Dominguez in left. I love the kid. He's a switch hitting threat. He's got a world of talent and promise, but he makes too many mistakes and it costs the Yankees a lot of runs. When you play on that kind of turf in a place like Toronto or formerly a place like the Trop that's no longer being used in Tampa, the ball's going to bounce a little different. Things happen, but it was very frustrating. And I think ultimately, when Aaron Boone was arguing balls and strikes with, I think ultimately when Aaron Boone was arguing balls and strikes with the ump, I think it was more of a frustration of just his team's ineptitude that really made him go into overdrive. Matt Blake, the pitching coach, also tossed. And sometimes when things like that happen, you hope it could fire up your team. But the Yankees squander an opportunity to be only 2 games behind the Blue Jays. They fall back to 4 behind. They have today off. Blue Jays are headed to Detroit to take on a slumping Tiger team that just got swept by the lowly Pittsburgh Pirates. Idris Salam, my co-host, kind of manifested some of that when I told him a couple of days ago that I was going to pick against the Tigers on my parlay, even though Paul Skeens was pitching. They ultimately sweep the Tigers. Tigers are in definitely a bit of a funky slump. And how about the Colorado Rockies taking it to the St. Louis Cardinals? I mean, the Cardinals aren't exactly world beaters, but the Rockies are the worst team in Major League Baseball. But the Rockies have been playing better as of late. Kansas City Royals taking it to the Chicago Cubs. And it's funny because, it's a marathon, not a sprint, MLB, this time of the year. And you see lower teams beating some of the elite teams or teams that are trying to be elite. And I think, truthfully, it comes down to a war of attrition. But when you look at what the Houston Astros do, go into Arizona, win that series, and this is an undermanned Houston Astros squad. As much as I dislike that organization, you've got to give them all the credit. All the credit you've got to give them. But, when you see this ineptitude from one team, or when you just see obvious holes on teams that are playoff hopefuls, World Series hopefuls, it's what leads to, okay, what are we going to do to improve our roster? Are we buying or are we selling? Yankees will obviously be buying, but just a disappointing loss. And I was talking about it with my girlfriend after the game. She watched a decent portion of the game with me, and I told her straight up, I was like, man, I hope Aaron Judge has a players only meeting, because that's the kind of loss that you just have to rally the troops together, put everybody together, and start holding people accountable. You know, um, I'm a firm believer that you should never be too high or too low when you're playing competitive sports, because it's going to be a roller coaster. And at the end of the day, even the greatest baseball players, particularly talking about the hitters, only succeed about 30% of the time. It just goes to show you how hard hitting a baseball really is. And, it's a team sport through and through. Aaron Judge having a season for the ages as he continues to climb the Yankee home run list. He's getting up there with some serious elite company. You're looking at the likes of Yogi Berra, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig, and Babe Ruth. And right amongst them is Aaron Judge, as he recently jumps Alex Rodriguez, the 3-time league MVP. Judge could be potentially going for his 3rd league MVP this year. And for you, the viewers, had a question. I talked to my buddy Mike Zappy yesterday on my ride home from work, and he feels that Cal Raleigh, who is having a tremendous season, especially for a catcher in terms of home run value, as he's approaching 40, potentially on pace to break Aaron Judge's single-season American League home run record. If Raley breaks Judge's record, but if Judge only, say, is a couple of home runs behind Raley, because Judge hit number 36 or 37, I think it was 37 last night, and he's still hitting, say, over 340, should Judge still win the AL MVP? I think it's a question worth asking, but I also told Zappy that I'm more interested in Aaron Judge finally having that signature October. A lot of conflicting reports coming out this time of the year about which direction the Yankees are going to go in, and other teams. Ryan McMahon's name has been linked to the Yankees as well as a potential backup plan if Eugenio Suarez and, say, Amero Kelly do not end up in the Bronx. But the Yankees absolutely need a third baseman. They've needed one since last year. Jazz Chisholm playing out of position last year. He's now at second. Of course, we DFA'd fan favorite DJ LeMahieu. And, we need some production as well. Because after the first five in this lineup, it gets a little murky and a little bleak. So, I think the Yankees know what they have to do. The question is, will they execute? Will they make the proper moves to defend their American League title and get to a 42nd World Series appearance in the quest for that elusive 28th World Series trophy? Um, American League is wide open as far as I'm concerned. As good of a season as the Tigers are having, I do feel they are vulnerable. In my opinion, right now, the two best teams in the American League, I'm not basing it on record. I'm basing it on what I'm seeing day to day. It's the Toronto Blue Jays, it's the Houston Astros, and then it's everyone else trying to gear up for that second season, that postseason run. A month from now or so, the rosters will expand. I think the Yankees will have the opportunity to see what Spencer Jones brings to the table. And I was on a rant yesterday on my socials saying how I want Spencer Jones to get called up, and I want Jason Dominguez to join the long line of designated hitters in this Yankees lineup, because I'm sorry, he does not bring enough offensive value to play left field at that horrific metric. I know in Scranton, Dominguez was a little more successful playing in center field. Perhaps the Yankees might feel more comfortable putting Bellinger in those positions and having Dominguez roam center. The captain, Aaron Judge, is super versatile. Of course, you don't want to move him around. I think he does more than enough already. Brian Cashman, for the love of God, please go get Eugenio Suarez. Aaron Judge needs some protection in this lineup. I love what Cody Bellinger's been doing as of late. I think Ben Rice is a lot more comfortable on the plate than he was a year ago. He's becoming more acclimated with playing major league competition on the day-to-day. He kind of got thrust into the lineup last year and thrown into the fire rather quickly when Anthony Rizzo went down. Anthony Volpe, great kid. Think the world of him as a human. But when you think about the lineage of great shortstops, or just really quality shortstops that have played that position, ranging from Phil Rizzuto, Derek Jeter, and even the admirable job that Didi Gregorius did when Jeter retired. Anthony Volpe, you have to be better, bottom line. Bottom line, you have to be better. That's all I got right now with regard to my favorite baseball team, the New York Yankees. Switching gears for a moment, NFL is on the horizon. Yesterday was day one of Giants training camp. Jackson Dart, potential quarterback of the future, threw a pick. Also ended his day with a touchdown. I love the situation the Giants have right now because you have two quality veterans that are going to help groom the young man, and hopefully he doesn't see the field until year two. I know there's some prognosticators that feel that Russell Wilson will not be a huge contributor and he's on the way out. And while I believe that it could be a one and done, I am very optimistic that Russell Wilson is going to bring a dynamic to this team that they haven't seen in quite some time. The former Super Bowl champion, of course, finally coming to New York. It's a place that he's always wanted to be at different junctures of his career. Oddly enough, once upon a time, Russell Wilson was in the Yankees farm system as well, so maybe it was meant to be. I think year two, you're looking at Jameis Winston playing mentor for young Jackson Dart. But if I'm the New York Giants, I do not force Dart out this year. New York Giants have a grueling, difficult schedule, as does the entire NFC East. Storylines galore coming into that division. And we're going to be hitting you with our division previews possibly as soon as the next 10 days, but definitely within the next 2 weeks. We're going to be going hard on football, getting everyone ready for the 2025-2026 season. And can the Philadelphia Eagles become the first team in over 2 decades to repeat as NFC East champions? Can they also repeat as Super Bowl champions? Can the Buffalo Bills finally get over the hump against the Kansas City Chiefs? Can Daniel Jones reclaim his career in Indy? Will the Green Bay Packers edition of Matthew Golden finally give young Jordan Love a legitimate number one? Can J.J. McCarthy in his long-awaited first NFL start? Is he going to be that dude that he was that won a national title in Michigan? And my God, how good is Abdul Carter going to be? You know, this is the scary time of the year when we get many injuries. And prayers up to Justin Fields in Jets camp. I saw that he had a lower extremity injury and was taken out. I hope that he makes a full recovery and that it is nothing too serious. But that's the only information that I have currently regarding Justin Fields. You hate to see this before the season, but it's just part of the nature of the business. And that's why they always say the NFL stands for not for long. That's why I always am an advocate for these players getting their money and securing generational wealth for their families, because you never know. It can only be one play that turns it all around. Until next time, I am Richie. Please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Check out the V Mix, the Vicious Mix on live365.com, where you can follow our man, Idris Salam. Check out the Casual Convo Show every Wednesday night from 8 to 10. Check out the Bleed Blue podcast, as well as the Basement Show and the Sports Corner with our good friend, Mr. Johnny Nast. Also, guys, anyone who wants to get in any of our division previews, reach out to me on any of my socials. Let me know if you guys would like to contribute and rep your favorite team on the show. We love having new faces joining us, so definitely let us know about that as well. I wish you guys a good day. Have a prosperous day. Have a quality day. I will see you all soon. And when I say see you, meaning with the camera on. Because if y'all saw me right now and see the way I'm sweating, you'd be like, man, what's wrong with that guy? It's just that Florida heat hanging out in the Florida room. Announcements to come for our next show. Take care, everyone.